Hey guys, welcome back to the next video in this Salesforce Assignment series. What we're going to be doing now is focusing on Salesforce Assignment 2, which was the second assignment that I received during this coding interview. So let's jump right into it. Alright, this is the assignment. What we need to do here is develop a simple account search page. The results must include the following columns: an account name, billing state, province, phone, as well as a website. So basically what we're going to be doing is developing a page in which the user will be able to search for an account based on the query that they type into the search box. And it's going to look something like this. Alright, so if you look at this first picture here, we have a panel here which consists of a search box, and the user will be able to go into the search box, type in a query, and press search records, and then in this table down here will be able to it will be able to retrieve whatever account that the user types in. And you can see an example of it here in the second picture that I have right below. So the user searches for an account name, they press search records, and then what's going to happen in this panel is there's going to be a retrieval of the account that the user has searched for. And just like I said in the previous slide, it's going to include the account name, billing state, province, phone, as well as the website. And another thing is that it has this clear records button, which is supposed to clear the records of whatever was retrieved based on the search that the user has passed in. And that's pretty much it. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the code. Alright guys, so this part of the video is going to be the coding portion of the video where we actually put the Salesforce application together. So just like my first video, my first Salesforce assignment video, what we need to do here is create ourselves an Apex page as well as a Visual Force page. So what you need to do is first of all go to salesforce.com, log in, and then you need to make your way to this page, which can be accessed by going up to the top right and clicking on Setup. You're going to make your way to this page. You then want to scroll down, and from this sidebar under Build, you want to expand and Develop. You want to click on Apex Classes. And then we also want to create a Visual Force page, so we're just going to open this up in a new tab so that whenever we're ready to create our Visual Force page, we'll be able to easily create it here. So first of all, let's start off with our Apex class. So our Apex class is supposed to look like this. Well, first of all, let's actually create our Apex class. I'm going to go to New. And then from here, we just want to start typing the name of our class. We want to go public Salesforce Assignment 2, public class actually, Salesforce Assignment 2. Alright, and what we're going to do next is we need to actually figure out what we need in this class. So we know that we first of all need something to hold the results that are retrieved by the user. We also know we need something that's going to hold the value the user types in. Pretty much we're going to need to hold the value of the query that user is going to be searching for. And then we also need to create two methods, the search functionality as well as the clear functionality. If you remember from the presentation that I just showed you, we're going to need both of those buttons to function as they should. And another thing is that we're going to need a way to interact with the database. So let's just first start off with adding something that is going to hold the results retrieved based on the client's search criteria. So let me zoom this in for you guys first of all. Well, all right. Let's minimize that. All right, so let's start off with this. Public list accounts All right. So, as I said before, this is actually going to be used to hold the results retrieved based on the client's search query. So, I'm just going to add a comment right here to make it easier to understand exactly what it's going to be doing. Retrieved based on the client's search search query. So basically the client is going to enter in a value, and is this actual variable, which is going to be a list, is going to hold values of type account. And we're going to have our getter and setter method there, which is going to pretty much add all of the records associated with the account to this list here. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Now, the next thing I want to do is this. I want to add this next. Public string search string. Forgot to actually add the semicolon up here. All right. And just like I said, this is going to hold whatever the user searches for. So I'm going to add a comment here. Just want to make sure that you guys 100% understand what's going on at each level. Holds the value the user types in. Now guys, if you remember from my presentation, again, there was a text box that the user would have to type the value in, and from there they would have to press the search, and then that particular account would be retrieved. That account record would be retrieved based on the name of the account that the user types in. All right. Now, the next thing that we need is this. Public Salesforce Assignment 2. And then we need something called the standard controller. All right, now this standard controller is going to be used to help us retrieve information from the database. And let me zoom this out really quick for you guys. And what I want to do is actually go back to the presentation and want to just talk a little bit about standard controller and why we use it. So let me just put this in presentation mode. So I just want to read through this to you guys so that you guys get a better understanding of what standard controllers are. I'm just going to read through it really quickly. So Visual Force uses the traditional model view controller MVC paradigm and includes sophisticated built-in controllers to handle standard actions and data access, providing simple and tight integration with the force.com database. So as you can see here, before we even continue, this standard controller is used to handle standard actions and data access. So it's basically going to be used to access data from the force.com database. So it's going to help us do that. If we want to create an application that retrieves something from the database, we're going to need some type of standard controller. All right, so let's continue. These built-in controllers are referred to generally as standard controllers, or even the standard controller. Now to continue, the MVC design pattern makes it easy to separate the view and its styling from the underlying database and logic. In MVC, the view, the visual force page, interacts with a controller, and the controller provides functionality to the page. For example, the controller can contain the logic to be executed when a button is clicked. A controller also typically interacts with the model, the database, making available data that the view might want to display or pushing changes back to the database. Now, all this that I've just read, I found this online, and I think it pretty much gives a clear explanation of what standard controllers is all about. Now, if you remember what I read in the second bullet point, if you start off here, it says, for example, the controller can contain the logic to be executed when a button is clicked. So, in our case, what we're doing is when a user passes in a query, they would then press the search functionality. And what that standard controller is actually going to help us look into the database for that particular record that we're searching for. We basically, it's basically just saying that we need a standard controller in order to link up to the database. That's something that we definitely need, and we have to first of all create it in our Apex class, and then when we create our visual force page, we would also have to include a standard controller in there as well. So hopefully, this makes sense to you guys. I know that it may be something new that you are not familiar with, but it's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do now is actually go back to Salesforce.com and just continue. All right. So we know what this standard controller does. I can also simply just do this. Okay. So I'm making it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Just simply copy this, and then maybe I can edit it a little bit. All right, so zoom that in for you guys. All right, this may look a little bit long here, but I'm going to try to separate this. Let's just remove this first line. Okay. Basically, yeah, the controller can contain logic to be executed when a button is clicked. So basically, as I said before, it's used to help us interact with components of the database, pretty much. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. If you don't understand it, go ahead and just leave me a comment below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, okay. So let's continue. Let's figure out what else we need. All right, so the next thing that we need is we need two methods. Okay, we need a method for searching, and we also need a method for clear. So let's just create the methods right now. We're just going to go public void search. All right, public void clear. All right, so when we go into this search, what we need to do is, first of all, let's just state what this function is going to do. Search for account based on user input. Let's do a comment for this one as well. Clear results of VF table. So basically what this is going to do is basically just going to clear the results of the Visual Force page table that we're eventually going to create. Pretty straightforward. All right. So what needs to go into this search method? First of all, I want to type this: string search query equals select name, ID, phone, website, billing state from account. Where name like plus search string plus in quote and in space limit 20. All right, just make sure that these single quotes match up. All right. So let's kind of explain. So let me go about and explain what's happening here in this query. So what we want to do is whenever the user goes about searching for an account by name, we want to execute this query. So we just want to go select name. It's just like SQL. We want to select the name. We want to select the ID, phone, website, billing state from the account table, where name is like the search string that the user passes in, and we want to limit it at 20. And the reason we're doing that is because there's currently no account name that exceeds 20 characters. So it's probably best to just put it in here. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is this. So what we're going to do now is take what we initially had up here to hold the results retrieved based on the client search query and pass and assign it to this. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to take this right here, database.query, and we're going to execute this query, and we're going to store that into this value here, the account, the ACC variable here. And basically what's going to happen is that there's going to be a list of accounts based on the query that the user has searched for. And that's pretty much it as far as the search method goes. We then want to go ahead and put this together. We want to start defining this particular method, this clear method. And it's pretty simple. We just want to go acc.clear. That's all we're going to do. acc.clear. It's basically just going to clear this list here, because the list is going to be populated. This is what's going to happen. We're going to just simply clear the list, because when we click search, the list is automatically going to be populated again. So when we go to clear, the list is not going to be populated. We're going to empty everything from that list. And if the user types in another query, that query is going to be populated again. And then we're going to have our list. And ultimately, we're just going to use the list to display whatever is retrieved in the table that we create on our Visual Force page. Now, what we want to do is simply save this now. Also, guys, I saw here that when I saved, I was getting this exception here, missing closing quote character on string at line 14. Go to line 14, and the thing that we're missing is this. We just need this slash here. And then if I go to save again, I see we're also getting this variable does not exist, ACC. Because ACC is here, and then up here I have ACCT. So I just want to remove that and then press save. And then as you can see, the Apex class should be saving properly. All right, so we're done with our Apex class. What we need to do now is work on our Visual Force page. So if we go to this tab up here, go to Visual Force page, we then can create ourselves a new Visual Force page. And from here, what I'm going to do is go to the label and then just go Salesforce Assignment. Assignment 2 underscore VF. And then we can put the same thing here for the name as well. Well, it's pretty much the same here. There we go. All right. So what we want to do now is start working on our Visual Force page. So let's zoom in. What we want to do is just remove all of this default functionality that's already in here. And what we want to do now is actually go up to this Apex page and add some attributes. So we're just going to go title equals you can simply just name it the name that we have here. Standard controller, and we're going to set this equal to account. And then what we need, I'm going to explain this in a minute, we need another attribute, extension equals, and then this will actually be the name of the Apex class that we created. Should be this. All right. So as you can see, okay. All right. So as you can see, we have the title of this page, which is going to be Salesforce Assignment 2 Visual Force page. We also have ourselves a standard controller. We're going, and this standard controller, what we're doing here is we're retrieving, well, we're specifying the table that we want to retrieve from. And we have this extensions attributes here, which is going to extend Salesforce Assignment 2. Now, the reason we're extending this is because we have our standard controller that I talked about before. That standard controller is going to allow us to interact with the database. So these are basically working together. This standard controller and this extension are basically going to be working together at some respect. We're basically just pretty much extending or pretty much inheriting from that Apex class that we created. And we're also creating ourselves a standard controller attribute here, which will give us access to the account table. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But we definitely are going to need these two attributes in order to retrieve information from the database and display it on our Visualforce page. All right. All right, so next thing we need is this, Apex section header. You can see there's an automatic pop-up here that helps us out. Apex section header. All right. So in this Apex section header, we need a title. We're going to set that equal to, let's just say Salesforce Assignment 2. Pretty straightforward. So this is basically just going to be what's at the head of this particular page. Next, what we want to do is create ourselves a form. Just want to go Apex form. And then you just want to close it off. So on this page, we're going to have a form. And inside of this form, we're going to need a page block. Okay, we need one page block that is going to consist of all the input that the user is going to type in. And then we're going to need another page block, which is going to consist of the table that is going to retrieve the results, or the accounts based on the name that the user types in. So a page block, that's what we need. Apex page block. And then you want to go title, set this equal to search. Sorry about that. All right, so the first thing that we need is a text box. All right, so as you can see, what we have is an input text, which is basically going to be the control that we have here, in which the user will be able to enter in a value. And for this text box that we have, we want to just give it a label of input. Now after that, what we need to do is actually create our buttons. So we're going to have two buttons, but they're going to be doing something different. So you just want to go Apex command button value equals search records action equals exclamation point search. And then from here, we just want to go ahead and just close it off. All right, so as you can see, we have our command button the value in that command button is going to be search record. So this is going to be the actual name or the text that appears on the button. And then this action is going to be related to the search functionality. So as you can see here, we're going to have this extension here. And this extension is going to inherit everything from Salesforce Assignment 2 Apex class. So when we call a method in the Visual Force page, this is how you go about doing it. Set an action attribute and set it equal to whatever the name of the method is. So we're just going to copy this and basically do the same for clear. Then we just want to go clear. All right, pretty straightforward. This is going to be our first page block here. And then we're going to create ourselves another one right now. Apex page block. And then title. Set this equal to results. And pretty much close that off. Well, we're going to keep this page block open actually. And then close it off down here. Now what we want to do is create ourselves a page block table. So let's create ourselves a page block table. We're going to go Apex colon page block table value, set this equal ACC, and then VAR equals A. And then we basically just want to close this off down here. Page block table. All right, so this page block table is basically supposed to be a table that consists of the accounts that are retrieved by the user. So basically, inside of this table, we're going to go about creating ourselves columns, and these columns are going to be populated with the appropriate values. All right, and this is basically what we're specifying in this table. We want the value of the data retrieved in this table to be ACC. But what we're doing in order to save time, we're just creating ourselves a variable, which is A, and this will pretty much be the same as accessing this. But I mean, it can be better explained if I actually start writing the code for it. I'll show you. All right, so this is what we're going to do now. Apex column header value equals account name. All right, we're then going to have value, set this equal to this a dot name slash close. All right, so these are going to be the columns that I'm going to be creating. So as I said, with this Visual Force page, there's going to be two page blocks. This page block up here is going to be for the user to search through and interact with. This is going to be a block that the user interacts with, and this is going to be a block that consists of retrieving information based on the user input. So what I have here is a page block table. This page block table has this attribute called value, and it has a var here, which is going to be set equal to A, which is going to allow us to easily access what we need to access from this particular table. So we're pretty much grabbing the accounts table here, but in order for convenience, we just want to specify a variable, which is A, and then we'll be able to quickly just go a.name, and we want to do this for all of the columns that we plan to have in this table. So we're just going to make our way through this. Well, I could just copy this actually and just change whatever I need to change. All right, so do this, this, and that. All right, so we have an account name. The next thing we need is billing state. Billing state province. All right. We're then going to need a phone. And then a website. All right. Let's just see. All right, so this should work. What I have here is basically a table. It has all the columns that we want to retrieve based on the criteria that's passed in. And we have another page block up here that actually allows the user to interact. The user is basically just going to be interacting with this page block. So let's just save this real quick and just see. This saves. Okay. Looks like everything saves properly. And let me zoom out. And what I want to do now is actually see if this works. So let's go to preview. And then let's search for a record. So this is an account name that's in the database. Then I'm going to go search records. And it's actually pulling up the record based on the name that's passed in here. This is an account name. So the user goes in, they type in an account name, they press search records, and it's basically pulling up all the information about that particular account based on the user's input. The billing state, the phone number, and the website associated with that account that they're searching for. Now what we want to do now is just simply check for this clear records. We want to clear record. And as you can see, this table has been cleared it basically has cleared all the information from this table down here. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video if you've learned something here. And also, don't forget to subscribe. And see you in the next one.